All right, let's get to this. Martin, there is a pictures have been floating around over I think you would agree, the last 2 months or so with Luka, whether it was just spotted here, spotted there, and he looks so great. He looks like in shape. But now we officially kind of have an answer to this, as his whole body looks different with this article that he had that just came out over the weekend. And Luka himself talked about it. It was for Men's Health. It was a feature on him. And essentially, just to get to the gist, he says, I always work on something. I always work on my body. But he had added motivation coming off of the injury, being nicked up all season, only playing 50 games between the two teams, and then also getting traded. So he had that, and more than anything, he said he slimmed down, he's toned, and he says, quote, just visually, I would say my whole body looks better. He said that in the article, and it does. And it does. So I'm going to jump out on this. For me, I love what I'm seeing from Luka. I love the fact that he acknowledged it, because to me, sometimes when people call you on your flaw, when they call you out on your ish, when they call you out on your thing, it takes really a real man or a woman to say, you know what, you're right. You know what I mean? You're right. I am being deficient here. I'm not being efficient here. I am slacking in this area. And I like that Luka didn't just say, no, I'm fine. I am what I am. It is what it is. And it's gotten me to 5 All-NBA, first-team All-NBA. Deal with it. I dragged the team to the finals. It is what it is. I'm good enough. I like that he took it to heart. I like that he took it personally. And I like that he went to work. And whether he got some advice from somebody like a LeBron who's in year 68 and still looks amazing, and still obviously in great shape, whether he just took it personally that, man, I could get traded from the team that I thought would be home, and I thought I was untradeable, and we now see that's the case, and really set the NBA on alert. This is not the case. Anybody can get this smoke, whether it's Luka, whether it's Ant Edwards, anybody. If Luka can get it, anybody can get it. But more importantly, I like that he's activated with this, that he's taking it on his shoulders, that he's out here shooting text messages. We hear to Marcus Smart, he's shooting texts to DeAndre Ayton, trying to build a team, trying to be participatory, and now being a Laker, as he looks like he's going to get a deal eventually, a 4-year deal worth, $2.25 million. So I actually like what I'm seeing and the fact that he's bounced back. And we talked about this last week. I believe it was Friday. I expect Luka now to get a ring in the next 4 years, because to me, you realize you can be better. Your great was great. MVP candidate all the time, kind of one of those guys. But you can be better. And now you put yourself in a situation, to me, where you got a couple of players. I don't think they're good enough to really contend, but I do think he put himself in a position, Martin, where he can really be an MVP candidate again, because I think that's going to work in his favor. Usually we have these criteria. You're the best player on the best team, so they kind of give it to you. Even if it's like some other person, you had a number 1 seed by far, we got to give it to you.
And Luka received MVP votes in that scenario before.
Right. And I think he's going to get it this year, because his team won't be loaded, and he's going to ball out and keep his team in a, 4 to 6, 7 seedish, and people will be like, man, this might be the year he gets that MVP. But bottom line for me, I like this. And again, LeBron ain't going to be here much longer. So I think the window is now open for the Lakers, the Luka era, no longer the LeBron era. And I like that he's took it personally. And I like, again, that he didn't just say, I've been good enough. He went and wanted to get better. And we'll see how long it lasts. But a lighter, healthier, motivated Luka, I like that for LA.
I mean, I like it too. Absolutely. There's no way not to like it, right? There's nothing to not like about this if you're a Los Angeles Laker fan. But we should all just take a moment as a country and just.
Okay, we're applauding. What are we applauding?
Shout out to Luka Doncic for showing up to work this summer. Congratulations, America. He did something that you and I and everybody else here does all the time. Professional athlete works out more at 11. I mean, ultimately, you know what the take is from this? Nico Harrison should print this article out and pin it on his fridge. You mean to tell me that this article said that Luka Doncic said for the first time build a weight routine to help him build total body strength? Luka's been in the NBA for 5 years now? 6 years now?
Yeah.
Right, 6 years now. It says also that, when he was in Dallas, he listened to everything the Mavericks had to say, but then when he would go back to Europe, would get limited information. You mean to tell me that the Mavericks are just, hey, figure it out on your own? I refuse to believe that's the case. Now, I can't believe that's the case, especially an organization like Dallas, which is scouted internationally so well. They draft, they got people over there right now, right? It's somebody's job over there to work Luka Doncic out, and you know what? It didn't work. This whole Team Luka thing seemed like it was happening more and more and more. You mean to tell me that now we are just now intermittent fasting? We're just now figuring out intermittent fasting. I've been doing it for the last 8 months. And people think I've been in the gym. I haven't stepped in the gym once. All I do is I don't eat before 2 o'clock. Right? But I'm just saying, like, Nico Harrison is vindicated off of this. Because if you're telling me that none of this was happening before, that's the implication. That none of this was happening before, then he never was going to do it, especially if you gave him that money. Now, it worked out for the Lakers. And more than likely, to your point, I'm not saying this to refute anything that you just spent the first however long laying out. I think all of that is true. MVP is on the floor for absolutely. Championship, I mean, we saw it. Hell, we saw Fat Luka do it, so why can't Skinny Luka do it, right? You'd think it'd only be better, right? But that was my initial takeaway from this is 2 takeaways. First, interesting that he only mentioned LeBron's name. Only the writer mentioned LeBron's name. Right. And Luka didn't mention it once. The narrative once Luka got traded here was that he was going to study with LeBron. He references Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant in the article, not LeBron James. Found that interesting. But more than anything, to me, this was vindication. Like, you had to get what you could because if you paid him everything, he was never going to do this type of stuff.
Here's where I have issue with what you're saying. On paper, I get what you're saying, and I wouldn't be mad if it was for Luka for Ant Edwards. Wouldn't have been mad. If it was Luka for Tatum, wouldn't have been mad. If it were Luka for, SGA, wouldn't have been mad. But you can't tell me we believe a catastrophic injury is on the way for him because he doesn't take care of his body, and then you go and get Anthony Davis, and then you pair him with Kyrie Irving. 6-year-older Anthony Davis. You know that he's not even the same age.
I'm not even saying a catastrophic injury.
No, I'm talking about with Nico. Nico's saying we believe a catastrophic injury is around the corner, and we believe in all of this. And my biggest issue with it was that would have been shocking because anybody waking up reading Luka is traded is crazy. But if you're doing it and you're getting Anthony Davis, not a haul of picks, that to me is the crazy part because he's often injured. You're pairing with often injured Kyrie. He's 6 years older. The math wasn't mathing with that to me.
I'm not saying that the haul was great.
Right.
But I'm saying if I'm staring down the barrel of making Luka Doncic the highest paid player in the NBA or moving him, and I'm reading this article expected to think that this is groundbreaking news right now, there's no way as a GM I'm tying my future to that guy.
Only other issue I have with that is, and I mentioned this, at certain points, this happens with athletes. This happens, it's applicable in any walk of life. When you and we know this, we talk about people who are overly talented, naturally talented. You name the thing in life. They've been able to rely on that talent. Luka's been a professional since he was like 13, literally. And to me, what I read is he's worked hard, but that next level, you talk about a Kobe Bryant, that maniacal level, he probably hadn't approached that. And I think to me, what was Dallas doing to get him to that level? And maybe he couldn't, maybe they just couldn't. Maybe he needed the kick in the butt of being traded to kind of take it to that next level. But I do believe some people have to, there's an ability to take it to another level, and you just didn't know that because all I've ever been was good. Like LeBron James, as hard as he works now, and we know and all this, I guarantee you if he would say I wasn't 22, 3, 4, I was working out and I was in the gym, but that next level, I had to go to Miami and learn. Oh, shoot, I got with D-Wade. He talks about it. I got with D-Wade. I saw work on levels. And so I think sometimes people have to get to another level. They have to see it. They have to have a kick in the butt, have something, having an experience before they take it to the next level, which is why Kobe is so revered in that regard because he seems to be somebody that had that engine from go. And I think not everybody's born that way. And again, I don't care if it's a salesperson. I don't care if it's a singer. I don't care if it's a dancer. I don't care if it's an NBA player. Some people, it takes a moment when you go, oh, that's the – Kobe Bryant coming to the Olympics. LeBron and Melo, they all-stars, first-team NBA. We the guys and KD.
Sure.
Then they see Kobe and they go, oh, there's another level. And I just think sometimes you need that. I think Luka, through this situation, got that. But I totally get what you're saying. If they don't trade him, does he ever get there? We don't know. But I get what you're saying.
For this article to come out like this, and I get what you're saying about the LeBron and going to see and being at the next level. The problem is, now the author in this actually wrote that Luka jumped 42 inches at the combine, which A, didn't have it. He didn't go to the combine, and B, Luka ain't never jumped 42 inches in life.
How about 42 inches?
But if you go back and watch Luka and them bubble highlights with nobody in the stands and education reform on the back of people's jerseys, Luka Doncic was dunking the ball. He was going to the rim aggressively and dunking the ball. And you could see a progression in his game to a more on-the-floor type of game going year in, year out. He was getting heavier. He was moving physically in the wrong direction, right? And so that's the thing. Is like you look at, sure, like even a guy like Dwight Howard, right, was never all the way locked in, super talented, but never, I think to his own admission would tell you that was never all the way locked in, never locked in on diet, but he never got out of shape.
No.
You know what I'm saying?
Opposite, right?
Like if he had took it to another level, we would have seen whatever that could have been. Maybe he could have actually lived up to the baby Shaq and all of that. But with Luka, we saw it going the other way. And I think that's where you see this Men's Health article, and I'm supposed to be like, look out now.
The only other point I'll add real quick, and then we'll break here, but I do wonder if we're understating his injuries. And as somebody right now who's got a bum knee, and at some point I'm staring down the barrel of probably a knee replacement, that's a real thing when you can't work out the way in which you want to. And I do wonder if Luka, we've kind of just, all right, he's nicked up, and it's like, dude, I can't give you what you want and also be playing during the season and be in the best shape. And I wonder if that had something to do with it.